A whole lot of people decided this week that they got in early on SpaceX, the biggest IPO in history. They didn't. Every IPO has two prices, one for institutions, one for everyone else. Guess which one you got? The median IPO investor earns 2.6% over the next 3 years, not per year, total. And yes, SpaceX closed its first day up 19%. Sounds like free money, except the first $15 a share of that move was already gone before you were allowed to buy. That gap is what this video is about. Put $50,000 into the median IPO outcome, and in 3 years you'll have about 51,300. Put that same 50,000 into a boring index fund, and you're looking at around 66,500, a $15,200 difference. On one decision. So when you picture yourself buying SpaceX this week, who are you in that story? The smart one who got in early? Or the one holding the bag while someone smarter already left? Because the average IPO return, 38% over 3 years, is the number that makes you feel like the first guy. The median, 2.6, is the number that applies to almost everyone who buys. By the end of this video, you'll see the dollar-for-dollar math behind that gap, and the trick that makes the headline numbers lie to you. Once you see how it works, you won't be able to unsee it. Here's the thing, I didn't start digging into SpaceX's IPO because I thought other people were being dumb. I started because I caught myself feeling that pull, that this is the one, I can feel it, this time it's different pull. That feeling isn't information, it's identity. It's the part of you that wants to be the person who called it early. So I pulled the actual numbers. 20 years of IPO data. Jay Ritter's research at the University of Florida, over 9,000 IPOs, cross-checked against index fund returns. I expected the IPO numbers to look bad. I didn't expect them to look this bad. At one point I rechecked my own spreadsheet because I assumed I'd made an error. I call it the rocket ship fallacy. The belief that getting in early on something massive makes you an early adopter. It doesn't. It makes you a retail investor on the wrong side of the price. It's one of the most expensive identities in investing. And SpaceX just made it loud again. So before the math, one question. Not what did SpaceX do this week? This one. Which of these two people are you about to become? The one who ran the numbers or the one who felt something and clicked buy? Let's set the stage with what actually happened. SpaceX priced its IPO at a fixed $135 a share, a valuation around $1.75 trillion. The largest IPO in history, trading on the NASDAQ under the ticker SPCX. And before a single share traded, the offering was reported as oversubscribed multiple times over. Institutions wanted several times more shares than existed. Remember that. It matters in a minute. By Friday's closing bell, the stock sat at $160.95. The excitement is understandable. This is a real business genuinely reshaping space travel. Satellite internet, government contracts. And here's where it gets dangerous. When a company is this impressive, two very different thoughts start to feel like one. I believe in this company, and this is a good deal for me. Those are not the same thought. You can be 100% right about the business and still lose money. Because the question was never, is this good? The question is, what price am I paying? And who decided that price before I showed up? Every mega IPO generates the same energy. Uber did, Facebook did, Deliveroo did. And in every case, regular investors faced a completely different reality than the institutions did. That's the crack in the foundation, and the entire IPO hype machine is built on top of it. The number everyone quotes. Average first-day IPO return is 18.8%, based on over 9,000 IPOs tracked by Ritter. Sounds incredible, almost 19% in one day. But more than 1 in 5 IPOs, 21%, lose money on day one. Here's the part that matters for you, that 18.8% average. You can't get it. Institutions bought SpaceX at the offer price, $135. And remember the oversubscription. Several times more demand than shares meant regular investors got almost nothing at that price. The pop happens between the offer price and the moment the stock opens to the public, to you. On Friday, that gap was $15 a share. Institutions paid $135. The first public trade printed at $150. Multiply $15 by every share you bought. That was your head start, handed to the other side. And if you bought the open and you're up today, good. But day one was never the bet. 3 years is. And the 3-year numbers don't care how day one felt. By the time your order fills, the pop is already in someone else's account. It didn't disappear. It went to the people who got the offer price and sold into the demand you created. The average first-day return isn't a stat about a profit you were eligible for. It's a stat describing a transfer that already happened to someone else before you were allowed to participate. And it's completely legal. Here's the math in dollars. Put $10,000 into the average IPO outcome, 38.1% over 3 years. You'd have $13,800. Sounds great. But the median IPO investor, the typical one, not the unlucky one, gets 2.6% over 3 years. $10,000 becomes $10,260. That same $10,000 in an S&P 500 index fund, averaging 10% a year, becomes about $13,300. That's a $3,040 gap on $10,000 for doing nothing except picking the boring option. Now scale that to the number from the start of this video. On $50,000, a real SpaceX-sized position for a lot of people, that same gap is the $15,200 I mentioned. That's not a hypothetical. That's the median outcome across 9,000 IPOs in 20 years. This is what happens to the middle of the distribution, to most people, every single cycle. The 38% average everyone quotes is propped up by a tiny number of Googles and Amazons. Strip those out, and most IPO investors are sitting at 2.6%, watching index investors pull ahead, wondering what they did wrong. The honest answer? Nothing. The math was just never working in their favor. Now maybe you're thinking, sure, but those aren't SpaceX. SpaceX is different. Everyone always thinks their IPO is different. So let's stress test the data against the mega IPOs that looked most like this one. Uber went public in 2019, one of the most anticipated IPOs in years. Dropped 7.6% on day one. A $10,000 buy was worth $9,240 by closing bell. Deliveroo, the biggest London IPO in a decade, fell 26% on day one. $10,000 became $7,400. Facebook went public in 2012. It spent more than a year underwater before it got back to its offer price. Anyone who bought the open and needed that money in the meantime? Locked in a loss. Notice the pattern. The bigger the hype, the more inflated the opening price. The more inflated the price, the worse your entry point. Not despite the hype. Because of it. More hype means more retail money chasing the open. More money chasing means a higher price. A higher price means a wider gap between what insiders paid and what you pay. And SpaceX, now officially the biggest IPO in history, isn't an exception to this pattern. Given the scale of the hype, it may be the most extreme version of it yet. The result, not the plan, just the result, is money moving from excited retail investors to patient institutional ones. Which, to be clear, is exactly as ridiculous as it sounds. Now here's the honest part. SpaceX might be a phenomenal long-term investment. The problem was never the company, it's the price and the timing. If you could buy at the offer price, the $135 institutions got, the math flips. Ritter's data. Average 3-year return from offer price, 54.3%. Median, 13.9%. On that same $50,000 position, the institutional median gets you to about $56,950. And here's the detail almost nobody says out loud. That's still nearly $10,000 behind the index fund. Even the people who got the special price, the price you and I were not allowed to have, still trailed the boring index fund at the median. Just 10,000 behind instead of 15. Same company, same 3 years. The only variable is which price you paid. And you don't get to choose the offer price. So the question isn't, is SpaceX a great company? It's, am I getting a great price? And historically, for retail investors in IPO week, the answer is almost always no. Here's what that actually means about you, not just about SpaceX. The moment you stop asking the first question and start asking the second one, you've already stopped being the investor this trade needs on the other side. That's not a small shift. That's the whole shift. 4 moves. 1. Keep your core money in index funds. 10% a year beats the median IPO investor's 2.6% over 3 years. That's the $15,000 gap from earlier, and it compounds every year you keep doing this. 2. If you want SpaceX specifically, the worst time to buy is this week, while the hype is setting the price. And there's a date worth circling. Roughly 6 months from now, the lockup expires. That's when insiders and early investors, who are legally barred from selling right now, suddenly can. A wave of new supply with a date on it hitting a stock whose hype has had 6 months to cool. Historically, patience around mega IPOs gets rewarded with better entry prices. Waiting costs you nothing. 3. Cap it. If you're buying anyway, 5% of your portfolio max. On a $100,000 portfolio, that's $5,000 at risk, not your retirement. 4. Before you buy any IPO, run this exact comparison. Same dollars, same 3 years, index fund versus median IPO return. If the index fund number doesn't make you pause, you haven't done the math, you've just felt the hype. There's nothing wrong with a calculated bet on a company you believe in. There's a lot wrong with making that bet at the most expensive price on the calendar, just because everyone else was. If watching that $15,000 gap appear out of nowhere bothered you, good. That's the right reaction. And SpaceX was just the first. Anthropic and OpenAI have both filed to go public. Same hype, same headlines, same 2 prices, probably this year. The math you just learned applies to both. Subscribe if you want more of these. Not because we're smarter than anyone else, because this channel is for people who'd rather feel slightly less excited for 5 minutes and slightly more secure for 5 years. And here's the uncomfortable follow-up. That same trick, quoting you a number that describes someone else's outcome, not yours, isn't unique to IPOs. It shows up everywhere returns get reported. In the next video, I'm showing you where it's probably been happening in your own portfolio, without you noticing, which might explain why your returns feel flat, even though the market's been up. Same approach, same question underneath. Who's actually winning this comparison, and is it really you?